Hello everyone, welcome to ClickHeads. I'm Eddie the Chump, and today we're going to be talking about the new game mode coming with Valorant's official release on June 2nd, as well as other modes we know are being worked on for the future. It's an exciting time for the game, its release is fast approaching, so let's just dive straight into the info. In a recent stream for the Game Awards, Riot Supercakes and Riot Ziegler confirmed there is going to be a shorter, more light-hearted game mode coming on June 2nd. They were very careful not to spoil what it will be, and noted that it will be in a beta phase as they haven't yet had time to properly test it. But there has been some more info sourced from data mining the current build. The Twitter account Floxay released some strings that hint at a title for the new mode, its supposed duration, as well as some of the in-game modifiers like increased speed and orb mechanics. Floxay also speculated that health regen and respawns could be a possibility. Now from the strings, the name of the rumoured mode is Spike Rush. This could just be a code name, things can obviously change between builds, but it might end up in the final game as is. So we know that a mode is coming and we have a good idea of some of the details. Let's talk about what Spike Rush could mean. Now this is all theory crafting on my part, it's not confirmed obviously, but let's just have some fun and try and be creative. To me, there are three things that immediately sprung to my mind. The first is some kind of retake/take server, the kind of which you can play in the practice mode against bots already, except with fun modifiers like increased speed or ult generation on orb pickup. If this is how the mode works, then my guess would be that the blue barriers we see in the main mode pre-round could partition off certain sites on each map to make the rounds quicker and more specific. Perhaps you move on to the next site once you have secured one and you are given a certain amount of tries before swapping over. In Counter-Strike, retake servers have smaller teams to simulate getting a bomb down in a typical round, perhaps 2 Ts against 3 CTs, etc. In that context, each player is given a certain utility to try and make the retake work or to rebuff it, and aside from being helpful practice for such scenarios, these can be a lot of fun. They could do very much the same with agent abilities in this game, and I can see this working. When you do factor in more arena shooter abilities like higher mobility or extra damage, this could be the arcadey fun the game is currently bereft of, something to mess around in before you go back into what is essentially a very hardcore and tense experience. One of the best things Blizzard ever did was allow players to mess around in workshop maps while queuing for competitive in Overwatch, and I can think of nothing better to get over a tough loss or an exhausting win than memeing Liam with a faster moving breach and a judge. I have to say, I really hope Riot make this mode playable while queuing, and for that matter, let me practice in the range while the queue is active instead of having to leave like we do now. The second idea I had about Spike Rush was that it could be some sort of capture the flag or even oddball variant like Halo. CTF is fairly straightforward. When carrying the spike, you wouldn't be able to shoot apart from, say, your pistol, or not at all, requiring you to drop it to shoot, or even perhaps throw it to a teammate. And here, a map pickup that increased your movement speed would be very welcome. There would have to be respawns and maybe even health regen like Floxy noted, but in a fun arcade mode like that, it's perfectly fitting. I personally like the oddball idea a bit more though. Each team would fight over the spike, and whichever team held it for the longest was the winner. Whoever had the spike wouldn't be able to shoot, but picking up a speed orb would enable you to run away much more effectively. The data mine duration of 8 to 12 minutes would also really work well with this, as you could have 2 4-minute rounds and an OT if needed. I loved Oddball in Halo, so it's no surprise that I'd like to see this, but you'll have to let me know if you're as eager. For the third mode, I had to delve deep into my NA friends lexicon to understand another context the word rush is relevant in. Rushing plays in NFL hand egg are when instead of throwing a pass, chasing a first down to a receiver, the ball is given directly to a runner and they rush the yards in possession. In Valorant, you could have a spike rusher who needs to be escorted from one side of the map to another by their team to score. You could section off parts of the maps with barriers like we said earlier, and the teams could swap sides to try and score touchdowns in enemy sites alternatively. Or, just like hand egg, you could have a required rushing distance to be met before you all died to retain possession or be stopped. I can see this being fun, but I've just thought of a fourth option. Rush is a game mode from Battlefield that is amongst its most popular. Essentially, the attacking team tries to plant and explode 2 bomb sites with infinite respawns to move on in a giant map, whereas the defenders have limited spawns to try and stop the attacker's advance. In this game, as there will be 4 maps on release, you could try and blow up the bomb sites on one before moving on to the next. A crucial detail is that you can attack one bomb site at a time or both simultaneously in Battlefield. It's the player's choice, as every attacking player is capable of arming the objective, so the spikes would have to already be in place in a Valorant version. Part of me hopes the game mode is this, although out of all the ideas I have, had, I do think this is the least likely. Rush works in Battlefield precisely because the maps are so big and you can section them off in a tiered way. In Valorant, that transition from map to map might be a bit clunky. These are all my ideas for Spike Rush. What do you guys think? I want your best ideas for possible game modes down below. We'll favourite the best replies. Moving on, there has been some very good news about deathmatch servers in Valorant. The streamer Poach tweeted out his hopes for the second mode on release being DM before we definitely knew it wasn't, and Riot senior producer Jared Burbach replied with this: "The new mode is not deathmatch. However, we hear the desire for that type of mode loud and clear. Aim practice, warming up, fragging out. We're currently working on the required tech and prototyping for a DM style mode. Can't commit to a date yet, but we're on it." Now that's fantastic. I know I've been a bit of a broken record about DM, saying how needed it is for practice, yada yada, and how free-for-all is preferable to TDM. Yeah, we get it, Eddie. But knowing that they are working on it right now fills me with joy. My hope is that it works like those custom CS servers in that you can join and leave at your own inclination, and going further, I hope you can join them while queuing like you can in Overwatch. Nothing will keep your aim sharper than DMing in between ranked matches, and that's a timeline I sorely hope to see in the near future. As they say, no date yet, but I hope it's before the end of the year. I know this is a small concern for most, but for streamers, most that they can play in between games is great to have, and even for just high ranked players in general, queues can get quite long, especially if you're in a group. Giving players either fun things to do or serious practice options helps everybody and makes the ecosystem better. And that's about it for today. I really hope you enjoyed the video and found the info useful. Don't forget, I want to see your best Spike Rush ideas down below as well. If you like the content on this channel, please hit that subscribe button and click the bell icon so you get notified when we upload. Until next time!